A glimpse into the lives of artists, authors, and influencers, discussing sincere moments, shareable stories, and unfiltered memories. Let's take a snapshot with Mary DeMuth. Mark 5, Matthew 9, Luke 8, all take account, or they illustrate the woman with the issue of blood. Many Christians view the story as a story of faith, and rightly so. In your book, The Day I Met Jesus, you painted a colorful portrait of the scene. And what other thoughts are you hoping for your readers to walk away with?
Yeah, so in this book, my hope is to bring the reader right into the person's life, because I think, at least for me, I would read the Bible and I would think, wow, that happened a long time ago, and I have no relationship to it at all. And we forget that those are actually real human beings. That woman was a real woman who had this issue of blood for 14 years, a long, long time. That's a long time to be bleeding. And she, because of that, was an outcast in Israel. She was unclean, constantly unclean, never a part of the Commonwealth. She had to be on the outskirts. She had to, not participate in the community. And so she had spent all of her money trying to be healed. She had tried and exhausted everything. And I love that this story's in Scripture, because there are people out there today who have exhausted everything, who have tried every method, who have, maybe are battling some sort of chronic illness. And she's like a champion for the person who's chronically ill, but also for those who have felt like they just don't belong in this world. Because she probably wanted to be a part of the religious life of her country, but she couldn't. And she couldn't have friends, and she couldn't, have all of that. And so I tried to help the reader to just understand the devastation that would be, the loneliness, and so the reader would understand that she's just a real human being. But as I thought about it, and I thought about how much blood that she must have lost and how iron poor she would have been, meaning she would just have zero energy. When I pictured her in the scene, and I thankfully, there were several passages where I could glean from, I pictured her, it says that she grabbed the corner of his cloak or the fringe. And so the only thing I could think of is she's so weak, she's crawling. Because how, if you're standing up, would you typically, and if she's reaching for it, if you're standing, you can't reach. So she must have been on the ground. And she must have been at the lowest point. And that's, I think, what the message is for all of us, that Jesus is longing for the desperate ones. She was a desperate one. And what did he do? He said, something has come out of me. He turned, he stopped. The disciples were like, whatever, there's so many people touching you. How could you possibly know? Well, he's Jesus, so he knows. And he turns around, he looks at her, he lifts her up, and he calls her a daughter, which means I have included you back into the community. You are made well. And so she instantly, in a moment, from complete lethargy to crawling on the ground, is completely healed and is transformed, not only in her heart, not only in her physicality, but in her relationship. She now can jump back into life. And so she's just a beautiful picture of what we need to be. I think we think that to be a Christian, we have to have it all together. We've got to, have all our ducks in a row, and that Jesus wants strong people for him. But she shows that actually he wants desperate people for him, people who know that he's the only answer to their problems. And when we reach out, we're crawling on the ground, we feel like we're at the end of our ropes and we're grabbing onto the fringe of his cloak, that's when he shows up, and that's when he does his supernatural work.